Lower dump.
Hello, and welcome to Lore Dump, the show where normally we take someone that hasn't played a game or game franchise and walk them through the full story. But as we are in the depths of midwinter, approaching the holiday season, the season of giving, I thought we'd maybe get together and give something back to our fans. So we've very kindly, I should say who's here with me. Who's here with me? Who are you?
Your favorite little elf, Chase.
Gremlin might be more appropriate, but sure. I just noticed there's a spider web from that spider. It's anyway.
We've made a friend, the spider.
I'm also here. My name's Monty.
Hi, Monty. And I've compiled some questions very kindly sent in across our Patreon, across the Discord, across Twitter comments. X. Tweets on X. Are they still tweets on X?
They are still tweets.
By the time this is out, X might be bought, so I'm renamed again. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that a thing that's potentially happening?
apparently, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, the last time we did one of these was quite a short... I mean, I think we had maybe a third of the subscribers that we've got now, and we put it on the end of another video, but we've had a lot more questions come in since then, and thank you to everyone that's done. We're going to try and get through as many as we can.
A lot of questions, right?
A lot of questions.
I'm really struggling to not answer them in the Discord.
You failed a couple of times, I noticed.
I kept seeing questions coming, and I'm like, I need to answer these now.
The mods shouting at you.
Well, no, to be fair, that was because I told the mods to kick me out of the server if I came back, because I needed to focus on writing.
Right, got you.
Link to the Discord is below.
I am going to start with our Patreon questions. I'm going to start with a question from Peggy. And I'm going to address this one first to Monty. If you could be any supernatural creature, which would you pick?
Oh, I really should have prepped.
Oh yeah, we haven't prepped for this, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
I compiled these questions at 2 a.m.
Off the cuff.
Oh, it would. It'd 100% be a ghost. It'd be a ghost, so I could haunt people after I die. And also, I have a very kind of deep-seated fear. It's getting deep already. A deep-seated fear. You could even say a phobia of nobody coming to my funeral. So the idea of dying and be able to witness my funeral and go, cool. All right, a couple of people came. That's nice.
Jesus.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Got the tone down.
Yeah, sorry.
all
Merry
right.
Christmas, everyone.
Listen. Look at me when I tell you this. I hope I'm at your funeral.
I hope you're still alive. Yeah, me too.
Chase, what supernatural creature would you be?
What the fuck is what's that?
There goes the money.
What the bleep? What's the like water horse that drags people down to the depths?
The Kelpie.
I want to be a Kelpie.
Nice.
Yeah, give me some nice flowing horsehair as I drag them down to devour.
Nice. You've picked a Scottish.
Was that Scottish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, fantastic. I always get confused with the Selkie.
No. I take it back. I take it back. I would be the Mothman.
Oh, of course.
I'd be the Mothman.
Kind of. Is that an Appalachian one?
It's an Appalachian one. Much better.
Yeah.
What year are we entering? 2025, right? Not 2015.
this
Okay.
Mothman is eternal.
Mothman.
And as for me, I suppose I would be. Yeah, I guess. I think I would pick an Irish spirit, like an Irish fairy. You know, one of those ones that sort of helps the crops grow. And maybe terrorizes a few old ladies, but
You're not helping the ginger allegations.
chaotic good sort of. Yeah, the exact 100%. Yeah, they aren't allegations. I just am.
Leaning in hard.
Thank you for your question, Peggy. Next up, we've got a question again from the Patreon. This is from Jerome Hotchkiss. Will you ever cover multimedia franchises where more than just video games are important to the canon, like Hack or FF7, looking at you, Advent Children, or even non-game franchises? Berserk was mentioned by Monty once, and that would be amazing. We've had this question a few times, so apologies, we've had a few repeated questions. Given that this is from the Patreon, we're going to answer this one from Jerome.
It's always good to remind people what our answer is, though, because it is a common one that we get asked. First off, yes, Jerome, Berserk would be amazing, but... The general answer is no. However, you've mentioned Final Fantasy VII in there, and you've mentioned Advent Children. And, like, for example, when we covered Kingdom Hearts, Chase,
yeah, I was gonna
you
say.
technically covered a movie. So
Yeah.
we will sometimes do that, but it will never be franchises like, looking at you, Five Nights at Freddy's. We're never going to look at those franchises where that is where there's substantial, bulky episode worth lore in there.
It needs to be like 95+% game, and maybe a little bit of supplementary. Like you've mentioned the comics a couple times in the Batman ones.
Totally.
I'm sure the comics are going to come up again when we do Spider-Man.
And
But it's like we're not going out of our way to research supplementary materials because we're spending enough time researching the games themselves.
Part of the fun is that you're going into this. I mean, it's why I personally like to do them in release order, because the idea is that you, for when I'm in the chair, because part of the fun is going like, what? Where did this come from? It's like, yeah, this is just a big fat retcon that they've chucked into Game 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's part of the fun of the series. Saying that, we have a series coming out in 2025, Mortal Kombat, where anybody who's played those games, the first 3 games, you were relying quite heavily on like the comic book tie-ins to get any form of actual characterization from that. You'll see when we get to the Mortal Kombat episodes that I might reference them in passing, and that's typically what we'll do. Alan Wake is another great example.
Multimedia is part of the
Talked about the blogs, talked about the poems, talked about, and it's when those things are fun to add in as flavor, yes. When they necessitate a whole thing, then we'd skip.
I think there's a very boring answer here, which is just we started this video game you guys started this video game podcast, and I was lucky enough to be invited in. Lucky's subjective, isn't it? But we haven't run out of video games.
We never will. Looking at our list of ones we'd like to cover, like frankly, there's just so many games out there.
There's franchises outside of gaming. I know we're all passionate about differently, but
like there's nothing I'd love more than once Berserk ends is to lock you two in a room for a full weekend and just do Berserk. Realistically, that is hardly ever going to happen.
We might just do it personally, not recorded.
And also, like, Berserk would just never get monetized.
from the little I know about it, I think I saw a TikTok of somebody's grandpa getting traumatized while reading it.
It's horrific. Yeah. It's beautiful and wonderful and funny and so dark. But yeah.
Cool. I hope that answers your question. The next question is from Shy Doom Guy and appears to be, I'm assuming this is addressed to Monty. I'm not sure if it's been asked already, but how did you meet everyone's favourite Keyblade Master Chase and favourite Vanderlyn gang member Neil?
You'll be sick of telling the story, Neil, because you've told it 100 times by this point. How did we meet Chase? Was it a musical? It was a musical I was directing.
It was the one you were directing.
And then I would argue, though, that that's not when we became friends.
No, it's not. We met each other then, but it was very in passing. It wasn't until I later auditioned for another musical you were directing.
That's when we became really
we became proper friends. Yeah. Because I remember you recognized me, which I was shocked that you did. I was like, oh, touching.
I was like, that loud American person, they're really good at singing.
And then I lived on your couch for a while.
You did? God, I forgot about that, yeah. I think my couch ended up, you and another friend of ours during that whole rehearsal period. That was a weird period. And you
I lived on your couch for a couple of weeks after a breakup, yeah.
Monty lets people live on their couch.
I just hate being alone.
And we met, Monty and I, on the first night of university, of Freshers Week we have in the UK, maybe other places as well, where there's a week of drinking before university starts. And I was in the queue outside of a bar, and sober, awkwardly standing with some new friends, and a very drunk man was carried past us and thrown into us, and that was essentially it. That was 12 years ago?
Yeah, spent 20,
Were you
30 minutes.
Physically thrown at Neil?
Neil will remember the story better than I do.
Yeah, effectively, yeah. He was sort of being carried Christ-like between two people, and they were sort of offloaded him on us.
Why you? Why nobody? I don't think I've ever actually asked questions about the story.
I think I was probably just looking, and
caught someone's eye line.
Yeah, someone's acknowledged. Yeah, and if I hadn't, none of this would have happened, maybe. And we spent the rest of the time in the queue sort of sobering you up, and then that was it.
Role-playing that you were the bouncer.
Yeah,
to get me past the bouncer.
Yeah.
It was good, yeah. And then we lived together and worked together and did all sorts, and now we're all here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fun stuff.
Grown-ups. Yeah. Thank you for the question. The next one is from Siddhant Pandy. Are there some personal taste boxes that, if a game ticks, solidify a game as one of your faves? For example, a particular tone of violence, good audio work, smooth character animation, bassy soundtrack. There's a follow-up question here, which is any plans on covering Death Stranding? I imagine that one would be fucking challenging to do. So we'll cover the first one first. Chase, I'll go to you. Is there anything a game can do in terms of personal taste that will immediately make you predisposed to liking it?
Chaos.
Chaos.
It's like legitimately.
Chaos.
I do not need
Plot chaos.
Legitimately, this entire Lord Up started because the origins of Lord Up is Monty texted me one day saying I just bought Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Is this everything I need? And I went, oh ho ho, you fucking wish, and then proceeded to autism dump on him for 10 years about Kingdom Hearts lore. I love games with stupid, I love retcons. Anything that is just stupid and funny and amuses me is great. But also on the soundtrack side, there are so many games that are my favorite and that would have been I like this game, and then the soundtrack elevates them into favorite category. So, I'm a very musically inclined person, so that's always really important. I think a standout for that is Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, where in of itself, very good expansion, but holy fuck, the music in that expansion slapped so hard.
Yeah, the only reason I think, aside from the fact that you played some of it with me and coached me through it, was that it was the music. The music carried my experience of Endwalker. Also this year, Stellar Blade, which is a perfectly adequate action game with an incredible soundtrack that not nearly enough people were talking about. Everybody wants to talk about the big boob lady, and no one wants to talk about the custom lyrics in that soundtrack. Fantastic. For me, it's pulp. It's just pulp. Yeah. I love pulp in things. Bioshock's pulpiness, all the Steiner stuff. Mortal Kombat's violence, It doesn't need to be gratuitous violence. I just like pulp. And I'm a sucker for a decent horror game. If something can actually scare me at least once, I'm sorted.
Theo Weaver.
I need an interesting world. I need a world that that makes me curious about the world.
Yeah, that was going to be mine. I think world building is one. Music is for scores for sure another. And I'm a simple boy. If I can change my character's hair a little bit, I basically like big action dolls. That's my you can't change his hair. I've said before, you get an additional star on any score if I can alter how my character looks a little bit. And then Monty, I'll throw this back to you. The second question: any plans on covering Death Stranding?
I think we're going to get a lot of questions about specific game franchises in this, so we'll just bat them as we go. Death Stranding is on the list for sure. I also don't think it's as complicated as people make it out to be. I think you can do that in 3 hours. Frankly,
there's a lot of walking.
There's a lot of walking, and there's a lot of stuff that just isn't relevant for a lore dump.
I'll add a really amusing thing with that one specifically in here. That a while back, I was texting these two, basically swearing up and down that I was going to play Death Stranding, and ultimately making a deal with Monty that if I ever finished it, I got to be the one who did the lore dump.
Yeah.
I got 30 minutes in, went, I fucking hate this game, and never finished.
You were never going to finish a game where it was about slowly walking.
Monty again and again was like, this is the best game, and I'm like,
yeah.
I never finished it though.
No, it's got a gorgeous ending that I will not spoil that made me cry. Thank God you didn't finish it, Chase, because your version of Death Stranding would be 20 hours. Mine's going to be 3. There's so much you can cut and still retain the central concept.
Thank you for the question. The next is from Wild Weaver and Worm. What things in video games do you absolutely hate? Quite a good counterbalance. And what would make you avoid a video game? What turns you off? What are your video game turn-offs?
Okay, immediate turn-off as in it will dip points. It's good. It's a garbage loot system. It's the loot system you've seen in Destiny or any sort, or Gotham Knights, or I've ranted about it 100 times on my own channel. I despise that system. I think it's frankly lazy. I think it replaces good action and combat design. I like a good gear system, like an RPG-based gear system, like a Dark Souls, or Final Fantasy has a gear system, which I think is absolutely. Final Fantasy 16 is as a half decent one, which just doesn't get in the way of the game. But anything like that. I also big tick in my box, just to kind of combine these two answers, is I don't care for seeing damage numbers in combat. I find it's just noise, visual noise on a screen, because often those numbers don't mean anything. But if you have a little option in your options menu where I can just turn those numbers off, big tick from me. Big tick. Yeah.
Cheers.
I don't know if it's necessarily a turn-off, but generally speaking, I'm not gravitating towards gameplay-focused games, which feels very, very opposite. But generally speaking, I play games ultimately for their stories at the core. Stories are like the primary requirement for a game for me. So if you get like games that are just so primarily like gameplay loop focused, say like your FPS shooters, like I'd never really play a COD, I'd never really play, Fortnite or a Valorant. I'd never really play, I don't like Binding of Isaac. I don't like all these games that are like very focused on the actual gameplay mechanics. Not to say that it's all games, like things like
Hades is very gameplay.
I don't like Hades that much.
What do you know?
I've played it and I enjoyed it, but it's a game where it's like I haven't finished Hades and I don't have any desire to go back to Hades.
Well, on the note of Hades, I think. So, what do you think about roguelikes or roguelites or whichever way you define?
I like them more than you do. We've had this conversation before. I like roguelikes in general, but I think most of them I end up picking up, enjoying them for like an afternoon, and then putting them down, not really picking back up. I think there's been very few that I have picked up repeatedly. Enter the Gungeon is one that I've come back to and come back to. I love Enter the Gungeon.
Shout out our friend of the show, Johnny. We played last time I was round at his place, and I hadn't played it before, and holy shit, I could see that being addictive. I was terrible. I was being carried, but great fun. I would say for me, my answer is perhaps not as interesting as the other two, because it maybe just displays a little bit of laziness on my part. Anything that requires me to grind too much. It's why any kind of live service, any kind of MMO, I never have the patience for. I don't mind turning my brain off and completing some open world activities. I've probably played more Ubisoft in my life than I should have. But anything where I have to keep doing the same dungeons again and again in order to, get the incremental amounts of XP so that I can go and do other stuff. Nah.
Roguelikes aren't an immediate turn off for me, but I think we can, again, to combine the question of like what's a big tick and what's turn off, immediate turn off. One of the things I really love about games is, one thing is when gameplay contributes to theme or motif of a game. I think it's just such a crazily difficult thing, I think, for somebody to design from the ground up. For example, Alan Wake with the torch, it's all about illuminating, finding things, inspiration, and you can make that artistic connection. I think that's absolutely gorgeous. And if a game can't do that, I don't think it's a big minus against the game, but I think it's wonderful when it does. Roguelikes. So my wife really enjoyed Hades when we covered it for Nubis Humanus, and one of the reasons why she enjoyed it was because it's like, it's always something new. I'm always going into a new room and I never know what to expect in the next room. That is the thing that turns me off of roguelikes.
Just procedural generation or
I love a game that I will either accidentally or consciously start to interrogate its design. That's why I love the Dark Souls games. You start to interrogate, like, how is this made and what do you want me to do? With a roguelike, typically it's I like learning the level, like in a Souls-like, where you don't get that rhythm with a roguelike because it throws surprises at you, which is the point of the design. I think it's a crazy way to make a game.
I think you do to a degree, because you learn things like, the attack patterns of your enemies and stuff.
You do, yeah, it's just not the structure.
You can't learn it through the repetition, you need to learn it through adaptation instead.
Cool.
Next.
There was a second part. Well, Weaver, there was a second part to this question. I'm adding it with there's a sort of rapid fire coming up later, and I'm adding your set of questions to that, where we're going to do short answers, rapid fire. You know what it is. You stay tuned for that. Thank you for the question. Next up, Sean Ortiz asks, what game that each of you individually plan to do next, some point on Lore Dump, do you think might get the other two to try it after the Lore Dump? I.e., Chase is explaining the game, so Monty and Neil might try it. For example, Neil is doing Spider-Man at some point. Does he think he can get Chase to play Spider-Man from the Lore Dump?
Before you answer this, Chase, okay, so who asked this question?
Sean Ortiz.
Sean Ortiz. Hi, Sean. This is clearly a thinly veiled way of asking what are we covering soon. So first off, fair enough.
I think you're being very cynical.
Maybe a little bit.
No judgment. This has been a repeated point of conversation of, we're not calling anyone out here, but someone may go away and buy a game live on the air while we're covering it, and whether or not it's then played at all, never mind to completion, is often a point of discussion. I knew that you would never go and play Red Dead. I never go into it thinking, because you mentioned a minute ago about how the gameplay loop, and you and I like different things in games. So I know that the thing that is great about Spider-Man, apart from hopefully a great storyline that you're going to enjoy, is the gameplay. That's what's going to keep you hooked. So is there anything coming up that I really think I think Spider-Man's got a good shot because it's fun, it's pacey. There's lots of different outfits. Yeah. I think there's enough fun and camp in there that might interest you. And often we have a second part to this where two of us, as you will have maybe noticed, two of us have often played the same thing.
We can, again, okay, so any games that we talk about here, Sean, or anybody else listening who might be like, ooh, what's coming up next? We're talking about these hypothetically. I want to be very clear. We have not made the plan effectively. So I'm thinking about games that are on the spreadsheet or we've talked about in passing. Things like Ghost of Tsushima, I actually think might be one that perhaps if we ever cover, we've talked about, maybe we will, that you might actually fall in love with, Chase. It's samurais. It's a world.
I've been very tempted to pick it up. I just have too many games in my backlog to pick it up right now.
We've talked about The Last of Us in the past. I think I wouldn't be surprised if...
You need to get to that because my girlfriend keeps getting annoyed that we've not watched the show together yet.
Yeah.
Because I keep telling her, no, I've been told to wait, to hold off until we get to it. So you need to get on that.
Yeah, you're right. This show is never, just to be clear, the show is never, and we have never pitched it as a replacement for these games. One of our favorite comments, I think you commented on before, Neil, is one we had on Yakuza, which is like, imagine never playing this game, and this shit is how you experience it.
That's my favorite comment we've ever got. I'm not encouraging hateful comments, but it really is sometimes good to know that you've made someone's day slightly more annoying for them. And the comment said, imagine never experiencing one of the greatest games ever created and you get it spoiled by this shit. And I want that framed. I think that really sums up.
It was on Zero, I think, the one where I went on a big rant.
I need to go back and read it. That's funny.
So it never is a replacement. But talk about that comment and talk about some of my personal favorite comments is the ones where people, especially the Remedy-verse ones. I've had people be like, I didn't know about this and now I'm so hyped for Alan Wake 2, or I picked up Alan Wake 2 because I listened to a couple of the lore dumps and I got hooked. And I'm sitting going, that right there, favorite type of comment.
Fair.
100%.
That's why I played Alan Wake 2 before we got to the lore dump.
The idea that lore dump ensured some extra sales for that game, fucking insane. But yeah, so
Chase, it's a different question for you because you've only got Yakuza in your near future.
I don't. I have one, but I don't want to say what it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there any Yakuza games that you think? Because I did go out and buy Zero, and I have played a bit of it.
I think both of you would really like 7 and 8.
Okay.
I really think both you. I think you.
Is it the polish? Is it this gameplay?
It's a different type of game. It's not the same type of game, and I just think that it feels a bit more up your guys' alley than 0-6 does.
Okay.
I think you specifically would go play Gaiden. I think you will go play Gaiden when we get to it, and I think both of you will play Pirate Yakuza.
I almost certainly will at least give it a shot.
Yeah. When Pirate Yakuza comes out, especially because Gaiden and Pirate Yakuza are going to be shorter 10-hour experiences, which is very up your alley.
So up my alley. I will pay 70 quid to play a game that is 10 hours shorter, frankly. That's because I play so many different types of games.
The issue with a lot of mine are so often story-focused that after you get the lore dump, there's not a lot left. And it's like, am I going to replay this game that I know everything coming, I know the twists? Because things like, I think that you, if I ever get to them, I'm not saying that we will get to them. If I ever do the judgments, I think you would adore the judgments.
Yeah, like
but
crime drama.
They're crime dramas. They're mysteries. Once you know the mystery, judgments doesn't have as much, side.
That is an important point because, like, by the time we get to the end of a lore dump, we know the story and all the big beats. So it really takes gameplay or wanting to experience the world. Yeah.
And I think as much as I adore the Yakuzas, and to be fair, I think the Yakuza have a lot of good gameplay. I know that you've really fallen into the mini games and the side content in Zero.
Big time.
Oh, I also have one funny with you saying that I'd never play Spider-Man. I do own Spider-Man 1 Miles Morales only because it's because I bought it thinking that Miles Morales was a DLC to 1. So when I bought it, I thought that this was like a collector's edition, ultimate edition of the game that included Spider-Man 1 and its DLC Miles Morales. I didn't realize Miles Morales was a different game. Yeah, and the second I found that out, I never played it. So it sat unplayed in my Steam library.
We're all very glad you didn't.
Yes.
We're gonna move on. We've got a few more to get. We've got quite a few more to get through. Thank you for the question, Sean. Next question. from Infamous. We've actually got about 4 or 5 questions here, so I'm gonna pick and choose if that's all right. And your first question was about other types of media, which we've already covered. So hopefully you found an answer there. You've addressed one specifically to me, and this has been asked almost more than anything else. For Neil, we've heard the references. When are you going to do Assassin's Creed? I don't know about anyone else, but I need to hear the King of Accents take on Italian. I think first thing I would say that many of the voice actors in that game barely attempt to take on Italian. But, it's been a real bone of contention for us, the Assassin's Creed games. I have played all of them, maybe apart from a couple of the DS ones. I did even play the PSP one. I haven't finished Mirage yet, but I was really bored. And I've gone back and forth so many times on maybe we just cover Ezio, maybe we just do 2 or 3. But I don't know how well it lends itself really to a lore dump, because there are long stretches of time in that where it's there's a lot of historical characters coming up, but if you take away the gameplay and how cool it feels, and is it prime content?
To be fair, there's also a core other issue in that all 3 of us have played a lot of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've played scattered ones amongst the SEO. I know you've played basically everything at least through.
I have played every single Assassin's Creed game with the exception of a couple of the spin-offs, because then this is the problem you get into. There's spin-offs on spin-offs and spin-offs, spin-offs for the spin-offs. I've played every single one with the exception of... I've played, and when I say play, I haven't beat them. I have beat Odyssey begrudgingly. I have not played the expansion. I have played maybe 2 hours of Valhalla and despised it. I've played none of Mirage. I haven't even bought Mirage. So yeah, I've completely fallen off that franchise.
I'm gonna get whatchamacallit when it comes out, Shadow.
Sure.
Because it looks interesting, and I think it looks fun.
Prince of Persia is going to be the best game that Ubisoft releases this year, hands down.
I mean, fair
Doesn't
enough.
matter what Shadows does. But yeah.
I hope that you get to hear me. Maybe I'll have a stab at this just for you today, in case we never do it. So this is just for you, Infamous. When I was a young man, I had liberty, but I did not see it. I had time, but I did not know it. And I had love, but I did not feel it. Many decades would pass before I understood the meaning of all 3. And now, in the twilight of my life, this understanding has passed into contentment.
So,
where the fuck did that come from?
That is stellar.
Holy shit.
It's also reminded me. I know you have questions to get through, but it's also reminded me of the fact that. So I don't know if either of you have looked at the clips. People have clipped Lore Dump.
Have they?
So for a giggle, I had a wee look. I see you, listeners.
Oh, wait,
do you want to know what
show me that later.
Do you want to know what the most clipped bit of Red Dead is?
Oh. No. Is it you with gravelly voice? Is this horny people?
It's Neil. Yeah, it's horny people.
No!
It's Neil telling us the story.
Oh, you're gonna have to tell your partner that.
It's you telling us the story of how the voice actor for Arthur Morgan sounded a bit too thirsty.
No,
Because what did he say?
Horse, yeah.
What did he say to her though?
Well, he says, what is it, like, that's a girl or something like that? A girl. Good girl.
That has been clipped.
Oh no!
It's the most clipped.
I say oh no, but also oh yes.
Well,
keep doing it.
I'm
It's really funny.
So I'm sitting here thinking, if
Jay
we get
supports this
hours,
behavior.
if we get hours of that content, I don't know.
Are you saying you want to really highlight my innate sexuality to boost the podcast?
What I'm hearing is that somebody needs to make a lore dump dating sim so we can all put deep voice lore dump people in it.
I'm going to move us swiftly on. Thank you for the question, Infamous. I know there's a couple other ones on there, but I hope you enjoyed that. The next one is just for Monty. It's from Callum Armitage. Who's your favourite Tory? Brackets. Yes, I'm joking. Do you have a favourite Tory, mate?
Margaret Thatcher, because she's dead. Yeah, who's yours?
It was
Also probably Thatcher.
Answer.
Yeah. For those of you overseas, you probably know this already, but the Tories are basically, well, they're technically your Democrats, but they're our right-wing government.
We're not going to go into it too much, but
fun.
Maggie Thatcher. The next question, we've got a set of questions here. I'm going to do a couple of them from Sidant Padney, who I think we've already maybe had.
Sidant Pandy, who did some art for my Alan Wake 2 video.
Oh, icon.
The first one that I'm going to ask is, which one of y'all is the prankster on set?
I think we know.
Do we have a prankster on set? Dude, have we ever pranked each other on set?
I think it's more just the chaos of the room, and it's you, Chase.
I mean, to be fair, when I put slides of close-up like bum shots in the thing just to get a rise and a reaction.
There's a lot of surprise near nudity in your slides, like jump scare arse stuff.
Just to get a little reaction.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna skip Gay Son or Thought Daughter and a couple of others, because just for time's sake, I can't do everyone's.
Why not both?
There you go. There's your answer. I'm gonna throw your fifth question on the list, Sidan. I'm gonna throw to the room the most beautiful moment you've had related to nature.
Sorry?
That's the question.
You, out of the three of us, you have a decent answer for this.
I
surely.
haven't thought of one, but I'm sure one would come to mind. If you, Chase, you were an Eagle Scout, were you not? Did you have any beautiful moments relating to?
Still currently am an Eagle Scout. Always prepared. Beautiful moment in nature. I mean, it wasn't while scouting, but I recently got back from doing the NC 500, which is the big 500-mile car trip around the north coast of Scotland. There's a lot of really beautiful places up there. I'm trying to think if I can think of any. I think probably maybe Ullapool through kind of that like lower north or like the southwest corner of the NC 500 loop.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff in the mountains. I love the Scottish Highlands.
It's a bit of a shame, I think, growing up in Scotland sometimes, because you do start to take the beauty and the nature of the country for granted.
Yeah.
So it's like...
The west coast of Scotland is stunning.
I mean, same way with America. Everybody's like, oh, America born. And then you like look at like the Rocky Mountains and like the Appalachians. And America has so many beautiful places.
I'd say for me, we were quite outdoorsy kids. I think I had a lot of it, chance to be outside in fresh air. I'm grateful for that now. I hated it at the time. I'm very grateful looking back. We've been to the same area of the south of France quite a lot, the kind of southwest of France, and they rotate the crops obviously every year. So every second year we go to this little village. There are just acres and acres of sunflowers, and just walking in, the dry heat of the south with literally millions of sunflowers on either side of you, all facing the same way, depending on the time of day. That's something that calms me, brings me a lot of peace, and I look forward to every second year when it happens.
What a lovely question. I used to go fishing and hill walking with my dad growing up, and I've decided as a dad I'll be doing the same thing with my son because they're memories I cherish. Climbing Ben Nevis.
But are you taking Uncle Chase and Uncle Neil with you?
You can join, absolutely. I think it'd be wonderful. Yeah. You'll have to carry me up, I think, because I'm the least fit out of the three of us. But no, yeah, so... Yeah, what a lovely question, actually. Really nice.
Yeah, that was nice. Samuel Kojo next. Since you all seem to share quite a different taste in video games, can the three of you share your top 3 video game series? Christ.
Of all time?
Doesn't have to be in order. I don't know if I can commit to all time. I'm going to get in here first because I actually think I'd have some overlap with Monty, and I want to kick him out the way. I'm gonna say for me... it's pretty basic B stuff. I'm going to say The Witcher, I'm going to say Mass Effect, and I'm going to say... is it Fallout or The Elder Scrolls? Toss a coin.
I think that I think Elder Scrolls has more hits than Fallout does. I would say. Oh, but New Vegas is so good that it tops all of them, Yeah. That's tricky. Easy one for you all, Remedyverse, obviously. Yeah. Just obsessed with that franchise and that series. Others are really tough, actually. I don't think... God, what have I talked about? Oh, the Arkham series, of course.
Yeah, that would be up there for me, too.
That's an important series for me, I think. And then Spiral. Let's go with the original Spiral.
I knew you'd
trilogy.
say Spiral. I avoided that one because I thought you would.
That's seminal. That
yeah, we've all got that core, and that was PS1 for me. That was one of my first games. Yeah,
stellar series. What about you, Chase? Yakuza's obviously.
I'm trying to think. Yakuza's at the top. I've already said on the.
You told me recently that Kingdom Hearts isn't in your top 5.
You said that
it's not. It's I love Kingdom Hearts truly, but it's just not top 5. See, this is really difficult because it's series specific, because I could very easily name like my top 5 games.
Yeah, like Metal Gear 3 would be in my top 10 games of all time, but I wouldn't put the franchise in there as a
Yeah, because, things like Outer Wilds, Tunic, I'd definitely put in
Silent Hill,
top 10 games, but not series. So Yakuza's definitely at top. Second one, because I'm a Silk Song truther, we're putting Hollow Knight on there.
How does it? I guess
There's only one game, but I'm a Silk Song truther. It's coming. That is a franchise. That is a series.
One game does not a series make. So
it does. And then I'm sat here scrolling through my Steam library like desperately.
Just simpler. Childhood. What was the franchise?
Yeah, what
Childhood. What was that?
Pokemon.
There you go.
Hey,
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's a shout.
Somebody asked that in the Discord a while ago, so I'll chuck in a little random side question of whether we'd played all the Pokemon games.
Oh, that's giving you a picture.
As it always is, though, it changes every day. You know.
I've played every Pokemon game since Emerald, beating them the week of release. I have very fond memories of walking into a GameStop as a child to pick up my pre-orders.
We've got 2 questions from Tom Johnson. Now, the first we've sort of answered, which is about, a franchise that we feel we might like to cover, but there's reasons why it doesn't make sense. And I think we've all agreed Assassin's Creed is maybe a good example of that.
We do have another example in there, which you might...
Yeah, please.
Okay, so one we've talked about at length before, and it's not off the table, but it's one that is a pretty common one, Mass Effect. Those games, because of how heavy the choices influence the story and how deep that rabbit hole can end up going, and because it's game 1 leading into game 2 leading into game 3, the choices in game 1 leads into game 3. Yeah. Really, the only way we could ever do that is if I wouldn't take it, and I don't think you would, Chase. It'd be Neil. Would be that Neil picks a playthrough, picks the choices for us. This is what Neil's playthrough.
Because we can't do choices of that level.
I think there's a really similar one for another one that's been really heavily requested, which is Persona, which has so much choice in it, and because every single day you can pick a different thing, and I've thought about it, but I'm sat there like.
And do you want to write this? And listeners, do you want sometimes I love the fact that you're also engaged, and I love the fact that you have requests and recommendations. But there's definitely examples of have you thought about what this would do you actually want this? Persona's a great example. Do we want to sit here, no offense, Chase, and listen to an hour of Chase going, and then Ryuji goes for noodles, and you go with him for noodles, and the noodles are really nice, and Ryuji goes, wow, I love noodles, and it's like, my God, or do you want to hear Chase have to skip that in 5 minutes?
Yeah, because it's like I think I could do say Persona, but it would be so heavily skimmed down you'd miss a lot of the character building that makes Persona. So it's difficult, it's challenging.
Or the dungeons, which is such a massive part of say Persona 5. Really, you would have to, that would be 10 minutes. How do you actually lore dump a dungeon to someone when really still little happens in it?
We're very serendipitously branching into the next question, which is a little bit similar, which was, are there any game series you would not like to do episodes about, which we're kind of covering here.
Frankly, Five Nights at Freddy's will never be covered on this show.
Which is another question later
I
on.
memed that I would do it, and I got immediately shot down.
So yeah, the question was either you don't like the story, or maybe you don't think the format would work well for lore dump. And yeah, I think we've covered a few there. There's some that you don't think. I've often thought it might be really funny to do a FIFA episode on April 1st.
I still think that'd be funny.
I don't know whether to just do an actual history of football or
as long as it's an hour long. That, yeah. I think there's good examples there where it's do we want to give this oxygen, right?
Yeah.
Or how feasible is it? Destiny, I think, has actually been requested in the Discord a couple of times. We'll never do Destiny. Do you know why? Because it's literally impossible to replay the start of that franchise. Yeah. And also, do you want to give that oxygen? A company that refuses to, preserve the legacy of their franchise? I don't want to be a part of a means of trying to cover the tracks of an organization there. Now, to be fair, actually, our Union Cross episode is technically now legacy content.
Yeah, it is.
Because
I'm not sure if you saw this, Neil.
You can't play this anymore.
Union Cross was removed from the Play Store and the Apple Store.
God damn.
Yeah, it's gone. No clue why. There's not been an explanation.
Scary that we could be a part of its history. That's that second question there was from Alvin Swar. Who also said, love your work, guys. Always bring a smile to my face whenever I'm listening to the episodes.
Thank you for listening.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Next one. We're still on the patrons. Rosie Rowlands asks, Lord, I do feel like I shouldn't read this one out. I'm blushing over here, Rosie. Lord really came together with the inclusion of Neil. What happened? What happened to him since? No, what happened that turned the duo into a trio? Keep up the good work, gang.
My chaos could not be contained to 2 people.
If you imagine two warlocks trying to contain a dragon.
Could you imagine me lore dumping Kingdom Hearts to just Monty.
I think I was also benefited by Monty's bad memory, and you'd sort of misremembered that you knew a lot more about Kingdom Hearts than you did, so needed a dummy to sit.
I mean, the legitimate answer is that Monty had played them.
Yes.
Monty had played all the Kingdom Hearts games up to 3, and I had physically lord-dumped him through them as he was playing them.
Yeah.
So we just needed a layperson.
We will talk a bit more about that, I think, when we get to some... I know some of these questions are asking us about specific franchises, so I think we might end up touching on this when we go, but that is always supposed to be the core conceit of the show. I think it takes some of the vibe out of it if all three of us are going, this game's great, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I'm going to tell you a story you know already. Like, doesn't, that removes the thing that makes this show kind of unique.
Which can frustratingly make, like, there's some franchise that'd be so good, but it's like all three of us played it.
Well, this brings me on to the next question. Thank you, Rosie. This next one's from Dula Dirt, who says, would you revisit Resident Evil with more in-depth style that you've been doing since Kingdom Hearts?
Yes, I would.
I
would. I'm not saying there's a plan to, and I think we can do, because, Neil, you haven't played them, and that is always what the...
But that was
How many have you played?
Maybe 2.
Right,
So,
see,
but-
game franchise.
Yeah.
You have not played the game franchise.
And to be fair, there is also the fact that my only experience outside of 8, which I have played, my only experience with Resi is the lore dump. So if we're now doing it
Like 3 years ago.
and was heavily skimmed, so if we now do it in 10 times more detail, that's basically a fresh experience.
I skipped half of the best bits of Resident Evil 4, and that would be one of our favorite.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably forgot half of it already.
And the beauty of that is, because those games are not very long, is that frankly you can do them quite quickly, and that's a joy. There is that we can get lots of big episodes.
You can also do another stupidly long series. Welcome to Hell.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So the answer is maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's something I'd like to do. Yeah.
The next question is from Ethan Toombs. The first part we've already answered. How do we all meet? The second part was, what has been your favourite episode of Lore Dump so far?
Ooh, hot damn.
Chase, what's been your favourite episode of Lore Dump?
Union Cross.
Union Cross?
Union Cross.
To listen back to.
I've never listened back to any of them.
Fucking brilliant.
Explains a lot.
It was. I mean, to record it was Union Cross because, jeez, it's just so batshit insane that you two were just sat there in stunned fucking silence for half of it. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and also I think you ended up really enjoying the fact that we ended up really loving that one.
I mean, it's whichever ones I can get the biggest rise out of y'all, because that's what I'm here for. It's just gonna fucking rise.
You must be loving this run of Yakuza.
Oh my god, it's been great. I mean, CEO of racism.
I'm gonna answer it not in the sense of an experience while we were doing it, because I think there's some questions about that later. But in terms of going back to listen to, it might be the last couple of Kingdom Hearts when we were ramping up to a finale. I really liked that finale run we did. We were it was the first time I got to listen to us like fully invested.
Yeah.
We'd found out what the show was, what the vibe was. Yeah, I don't know about you.
Kingdom Hearts 3 parts 1 and 2 is that is a seminal memory I think I'll carry with me forever. Standing up for Roxas returning is just like a real moment. Crying at that.
Oh yeah.
Saying that, at the risk of kind of talking about one that I've covered, like when you're in the chair, your immediate thought was like, well, it was when I was in the chair, because that's when you get to do all the fun bits, right? Yeah. But Kingdom Hearts 3 is probably my favorite in reality. However, Batman Arkham Asylum, purely because I just like doing the voices. Yeah. And like that is just voice central, that one, and I really enjoyed getting to do that.
All out. That was your Joker I was genuinely impressed.
That and the Bioshock twist with you, Chase. That's a moment rather than that full episode.
Oh yeah.
The big Bioshock twist with you, that was really fun. But yeah.
The next question is from C.S. Thomas. This is the last of our Patreon ones we're covering right now. Not sure if it's been said before, but what do the three of you do for a living outside of content creation? Well, I can tell you one thing. I ain't making a living off content creation.
No. None of us are. Let's be clear on that.
Even close.
No.
Yeah. I run a personal channel, and even I'm not.
Tell your friends to like and subscribe.
We all have 9 to 5s.
We all have 9 to 5 jobs. Mine is a commercial office job where I sit at a laptop all day. Yeah. I did, as some of you may know, I've maybe not talked about this in a long time, I was just coming out of it at the start of Lore Dump, so I was still kind of recently traumatized, but I did 10 years in hospitality. Monty did some of that time with me as well in some of the same venues, but pubs, late night bars, hotel, restaurants. So I did 10 years front of house hospitality service, which really made me.
Yeah. I work with Neil. I'm in the marketing department.
Yeah, we do. We also work for the same company.
Chase works in the basement.
I don't work with them. I'm a software engineer. I work. I do my little tippy tappy coding.
There you go.
That's it.
There we are.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, Chase is the smartest out of the three of us, job wise.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to the patrons.
Thank you.
If you're interested in getting videos a little bit early, quite a bit early when we do a big recording day like we've just done this weekend, not to pull back the curtain too much, you'll get a nice little chunk together. If you.
I think we can pull back the curtain in the sense of like, so just to show how early the patrons get these, because
it is currently the 21st of September.
and Yakuza 3 will be out in about a week for the patrons.
Yeah.
You know, to give you a sense
Have
of
we released
like
Majima Saga yet?
No.
Yeah, I was about to.
It's out for the patrons. Isn't it?
It's for the patrons.
Well, that's been out for the patrons for about 3 months now.
Yeah. Now, the reason why we're doing this, I want, again, to pull back the curtain, I don't mind, is because, as I've said before, I have a baby. When you're listening to this, I will have a baby. And the whole vibe right now is building runway, because it's going to be more and more difficult when the baby initially comes. So we want to try and build a few months in so that we don't need to be finding time, and so that you keep getting stuff. So, but that's how early people are getting stuff.
TLDR, we essentially, we generally get together once every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
Do a big block of recording.
This is 2 days of recording.
Yep.
The first day is normally at least 10 hours. The second day is about 8 hours. And then it is weeks of editing. You know, between a couple of us will take the audio and the video, and that's a couple of days of work, as you can imagine. Yeah. And then the writing of the script is weeks and weeks sometimes. And you know, we all have, as we said, we've got actual lives out. There's babies coming. Again, by the time this comes out, unless anything goes horribly wrong, I will be a married man. Chase is the only one out of the three of us with a really active social life. So you know, there is the rest of life happening. So we get together when we can. We try and make it as efficient as we can, so that you guys can have a regular release schedule.
Yeah, the patrons generally get like 3 months of content at a time in
they
big
just
like
kind of-
burst dumps.
Yeah, like here's like 4 episodes, enjoy. Yeah.
And
So sign up for the Patreon.
yeah, that's the patron. And thank you for all your questions. I think I got through all the patron ones. Please let me know if I didn't. We're going to move on. Next up, we're going to go to our Discord. I want to preface this by saying I'm blown away by the existence of a Discord, really, when it comes to us. Anyone who's in the Discord, there's just under 1,000 people in there now, and they're a wonderful bunch, and they chat about things all day, every day, and I nip in there, as everyone knows, maybe every 6 weeks. And I have a look, and I feel too intimidated to say anything.
It's always the funniest thing there, because you'll start typing, and there are people who are eagle-eyed watching for the Lore Dump Neil is typing thing, and the second, before you even say anything, there will be a screenshot in there of the little Lore Dump Neil is typing, with them going like, "He has risen, Christmas has come, a gift to us all." It's the funniest. It's the funniest thing, because me and Monty are decently active in there, but you're always watching. Like you're usually there. Like
I'm sometimes there reading. I am, and I'm. I don't want to use it as an excuse, because I know I could be engaged. I get engaged and get involved and not be judged. But I do feel old. And I've had so many years of different platforms. I'm like, I've put my toe in tentatively once or twice. But yeah, join the Discord. It's a lovely bunch. But these are all going to be questions from that Discord. The first one, I'm going to have a combination here with one of the questions I mentioned earlier, and one of our lovely mods, Alfir, has asked us a series of questions which are combined with Wild Weavers. So we're going to do quick fire, okay?
Okay.
oh,
Monty,
Right. I want to know your favourite book.
The Sacred Art of Stealing by Christopher Brookmeyer.
Okay? Favourite book?
The Mists of Avalon by I don't fucking remember what her name is.
Ooh.
Hold on 2 seconds. Let me get the name.
Oh, okay. Not quick fire round. What about yours, Neil?
It's quickfire when you get out of the fucking dead. That's what it is. The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley.
Cool.
The favourite one in recent years is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Okay. Favourite movie?
Oh, God.
I know.
I can tell you my favourite movie trilogy. That's much easier. Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, good one.
It's a tad bit cringe. Scott Pilgrim.
Totally fair.
A little bit cringe.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good one.
For me, it's either it's Singing in the Rain.
Oh, belter of a movie. It's right behind you, actually, on DVD there.
Oh, nice. Favorite musical.
Ooh, oh, God. Oh, shit. Oh, my God.
You're gonna have to give us a second.
Yeah, you really are.
That's not quick.
You answered the two biggest musical nerds I know.
Okay, right. I'm a big...
Oh, and what's your favorite musical?
I love...
What's coming to mind?
Spring Awakening.
There you go. Chase, what's your favorite musical?
Rent.
There you go.
Rent is a fair one, yeah.
Just nostalgically.
Even when it's bad, it's good, that show.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Just nostalgically.
What about you?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know your answer. Go
What
on,
is
you
it?
know your own
What's my answer?
Wicked.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh, I do love Wicked.
My answer was wrong.
What's your
Change my answer. It's chess.
chess?
My favorite,
chess is
my
stellar.
favorite
Okay,
musical
okay,
is
quick
chess.
fire, quick
Sweeney
fire.
Todd as well.
Quick,
I love Sweeney
quick
Todd.
fire.
Okay.
Ice cream flavor.
Mint chocolate chip.
Also mint chocolate chip.
Okay, it's mint chocolate chip for me. We found common ground.
So what I'm hearing is that tonight after we finish
Need to
recording,
get some.
let's get some mint chocolate chip. I'll go to the shop.
Favorite album.
Favorite Worst Nightmare by the Arctic Monkeys.
Ooh. Favorite album.
Don't panic now. Don't panic. It's longer now by All Time Low.
And for me, I'll just say "To Pimp a Butterfly" by Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Okay, that was our one of our quick fire rounds. Next up is a there might be more. I can't remember. I did this at 2 a.m. The next question is from Newbie. When will y'all get? Well, when will y'all get a PO box so we can send Monty an air fryer? Do you want to give any context to this one, Monty, or should we just move on?
Would you like to give the context that you gave me when I screenshotted this one in the Discord and sent it to you in our group chat?
The context, everybody, is that recently we were away for Neil's stag do. Myself, Chase, Neil, and some other friends. And we had to do a truths and a lie sort of game. And
Would I lie to you for anyone in the UK?
And ultimately I ended up confessing that I don't believe air fryers are real. So you're laughing, and the fact that you're laughing makes me more think that this is stuff. I think it's a global conspiracy. I don't think they're real. I think they're pieces of plastic. I thought, sincerely, because I've seen so many air fryer memes, and I don't own one, I've never seen one in action. I think that it's a meme. I think it's an online meme, like the concept of haggis. In Scotland, we lie to everybody. Sorry to ruin the illusion. We lie to everybody and tell them that haggis is a real animal. It isn't. I thought air fryers.
It's not
were
a
like
lie.
that.
Monty's just a non-believer.
Obviously, this is mad, and I own an air fryer and use it frequently.
My girlfriend uses an air fryer. I have used it many a time.
I don't want one. I don't have room in my kitchen.
And we're both lying to Monty.
I feel like the tone has been brought down because I think you're really upset now. We'll move on. This one I'm going to address to Chase. Having written a multi-part lore dump. Now, this is by Mr. Fredorenton. Having written a multi-part lore dump now, what is the best and what's the worst part of writing?
ADHD. For full context, so we recorded the Yakuza 3 lore dump today. I finished the Yakuza 3 lore dump script 20 minutes before I picked up Neil from his house.
Technically, you finished the Yakuza 3 Part 2 script during the break.
Yeah.
I did because I added stuff in mid-break because I struggle to focus so much. I really, even to the point where our mods know in our Discord because I needed to tell them straight up ban me from the Discord if you see me talking for the next 3 hours. Yeah. I need to work. I can't. I am too easily distracted. Yeah, that's the worst part because I really struggle with that. I'm really, really bad for getting.
Would you rather we sprung it on you when you're going to be a narrator? By the way, Chase, have one ready in 2 weeks.
No, it wouldn't be done.
It would be done.
It would not be done. It would not be done. Best part though is I really enjoy revisiting my own favorite franchises because I always find myself re-surprised. Even I'm like, oh, I remember the twists. I'm like, but I don't remember them the exact way they happened. It's always really nice. To revisit them and come back.
I think so, and I think when you really hit on a thread for me in when we did Red Dead 1 and then we did 2 then 1, and when I came around to 1 I was like I now have a better idea of a thread to follow throughout this that I think is going to resonate with them more.
Yeah, what's going to get the big reaction?
Yeah, and like you have figured out exactly what's going to like wind us up, or what's going to make it, or what's going to make us emotional.
I'm gonna put Akimoto-kun in every game.
I thought that was the last time.
It's the last time.
I'm going to throw this next one open to the room. This is from Pyro. What do y'all individually think is the worst adaptation you've seen? Like, what's your least favourites that have been adapted from stuff you like or love?
Okay, the new Mortal Kombat movie is dog shit. Just because I'm on a massive Mortal Kombat binge right now, and I recently watched that film for the first time. It starts so strong, and then after the first 10 minutes, it's so bad.
I only remember, I'll say this one because it's my first time I remember being disappointed by an adaptation, as we've all been so many times. If you're a fan of anything beloved that gets adapted, it's slim chance that it'll match up to your expectations. But I was 11 or 12 when the Eragon movie came out. It was my birthday. I'll give a bit more context here. I thought there was a cool group of people, and I maybe had a bit of a crush on one of them, and I invited them for my birthday, right, to try and be cool. I invited them to go and see the movie Eragon.
It's not birthday. A cool. How old were you?
11 or 12.
Yeah, it's not cool.
No, it did not go well. And that was the first time I remember, while still being riddled with preteen anxiety, I remember just thinking, oh no, this isn't good, because I love the inheritance cycle. That's the first one I remember.
An obvious one that I know you disagree with me on, Chase, because you're mad. The Netflix Resident Evil TV show is like bad. I think that is a tax write-off. It's so bad.
Wait. Because we've talked about this. I don't think it's a good adaptation. I just think it's a fun TV show.
It's not. It's boring.
I think I enjoyed it as a TV show. I had no real leg to stand on in terms of whether it was good as a adaptation. Yeah, that's where I stand with that one.
Any disappointing adaptations for you? You must have had a few. Any teen YA stuff you like?
The one specifically that comes to mind is The Hobbit, just because I'm such a Lord of the Rings fanatic.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Because, which is just such
it tricks you for the first bit.
It's such an issue of just doing too much. Because it's like when it hits the actual legitimate story beats, it does them so well.
Oh yeah, really Riddles in the Dark is great. Yeah, the trolls are fun.
It should have been a single movie. Everything I take back most of what they added. I liked the White Council going to defeat the Necromancer. Yeah. Good addition. I liked that. Everything else. Especially since they also cut things from it. I'm like, why'd you cut things? You've added so much. Why are things getting cut? What is this? Yeah. And it's kind of ended up being a very similar issue with Rings of Power.
Obvious ones on my wall here. I've got a Death Note poster. Netflix Death Note is so bad.
Okay, I'm gonna moderate this discussion. Monty. Anyhow. Chase, this question comes to you from Cal Eldritch.
Hello.
Do you have any newfound interest in consuming superhero media, or at least Batman, after the Arkham episodes?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not really. My superhero interest has remained static since the thingy. Since we did those, I did borrow a couple comics. I never read them because I just never had the urge. And I have seen since then Deadpool and Wolverine. Really like that one. See, I like individual movies in isolation. I'll probably watch Agatha all along just because, it has Aubrey Plaza and I fucking love Aubrey Plaza.
This is going to be so dated, but so the first 2 episodes have come out when we're recording this, and sincerely, I think it's the best thing Marvel's done in years. I'm so on board with that show. Also, thank God, to be frank, because it means that we can do more superhero dumps. Yeah. They're great and fun to do.
But I doubt that I'm going to really... I doubt that I will ever be an active superhero fan, but that's not to say that I will never consume superhero things, because I like individual movies in isolation.
The next one is from one of our lovely mods. This is from Murderous. This one is just for Neil, and it will make no sense to either of you. For Neil, pipe bomb or Steiner maths?
I did get really confused.
I'm not going to give any context for anyone else. I think the pipe bomb is a seminal moment for me. It was a moment that marked me getting interested in wrestling again. The reality of the situation bleeding through, the fact that it was against the wishes of people backstage. one of the greatest promos, one of the top 3 promos of all time, and obviously the answer is Steiner Maths. So we'll move on there. The next question is from the Roof Cat. So the first part we've already answered a little bit about games that we might like that we can't do a lore dump on. But the second part I'm going to take as its own question. Do you have any smaller indie titles that you really enjoy and might recommend? Now, Monty,
so
I'm going to go
many.
straight to you because
So many.
I mean, that's Monty's zone.
Okay, right. Play it, please God, play 1,000 times Resist. The year is not over yet. You can play a Game of the Year contender right now, very cheap on pretty much anything. It is the story of the year, it's writing of the year. Plucky Squire, really, really fun, absolutely delightful. What else have I played? Another Crab's Treasure is the Souls-like of this year. Yes, I'm including Shadow of the Erdtree in that. What else have I played? God, so many.
Not this year. Tunic and Hollow Knight are the 2 obvious ones that come to mind.
Tunic is just incredible.
is so...
I couldn't get into it.
Could you not? Oh my god, Tunic is probably my favorite indie game ever released.
Sorry. My game of the year this year is Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. That's an indie game. It's a great puzzle game. It's got a sick art style, beautiful, gorgeous writing. The ending made me tear up, and it's just incredible. What else? Crow County, if you like horror games. PS1 throwback game that came out this year, Crow County.
The Coffin of Andy and Lele.
I've never heard of that.
No, it's the weird one that Chase wants to cover.
For God's sake.
The one that covers that. That topic.
Mine's a few years old, but I re-downloaded it recently. Inscription. I love Inscription.
Oh, Inscription's incredible.
Yeah.
What a great game, yeah.
I'm going to move on now to a question from Yashua from the Discord. Is there a moment in any lore dump that broke y'all? I think there are many. I think there are 2 or 3 immediately coming to mind for me.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll do one because in case anyone else wants to come in. And it was maybe the most we've laughed, and it was just because you mispronounced something, and we were so tired.
Trange portal.
And you mispronounced. You tried to say a strange portal, and the way you said it, you went, as we know, a trange portal. As with a strange portal, and I, for whatever reason, all the writing that goes into these, nothing will be as funny as your friend saying something slightly wrong. That was a moment, for whatever reason, that lives in my mind.
Sticking with Remedy then, because that's from our American Nightmare episode. I really love you two characterizing Cynthia Weaver as an absolute psycho killer in Alan Wake 1. And then in Alan Wake 2, actually, seeing as that episode will be out by now, jump scaring Chase on legitimately jump scaring Chase on a game that they have played.
That I knew.
That they know the most famous jump scare from that game. Of course, Kingdom Hearts has so many. Like, so many. I think that there was one bit where I think I spat out my beer, and I don't even remember what my adult juice, and I still don't even remember what it was about. It was just a goofy moment. Goofy dying. Like,
yes.
That's in there. It's wormed in there. Hook doesn't know who he is.
Oh, God.
He doesn't know about any boys.
Who are these boys? He doesn't know about any boys.
Like, it's just the VHS tapes on the whole.
VHS tapes.
Just an incredible.
Us ranting about the comments, ranting about the VHS tapes.
Trying to make sense of it.
Yeah, 'cause we did just make that up quite early on.
And people thought that we were serious.
I still am a bit serious about that.
You're absolutely gross little man from Red Dead 1.
Oh yeah, the prospector,
the gravedigger guy. Just your whole voice and everything for him. Just that broke me when I had to edit that one. I think, and that one I couldn't make it through.
I mean, broke in a different way. I cried several times reading the Lore Dumps for Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially when it came to Roxas.
Yeah.
I can't remember if you mentioned it there. The famous first one I can think of is your misdirect at the start of Kingdom Hearts 2, isn't it? When we do a whole fucking hour or two, and it turns out that it's not.
Guess my summer vacation is over.
Yeah.
And then the title.
Yeah. And then Kingdom Hearts 3, you get Kingdom Hearts 2.8 or something.
Oh, you get 2.9?
2.9, yeah, ridiculous. A lot of them go back to Kingdom Hearts because we were with that franchise for so long because it was our first one.
Yeah. And also because it's just such a memeable franchise.
Oh, yeah. Another question from Cal Eldritch. If the 3 of you fought, bare-handed, free-for-all, who would win? Now, I think I would be inclined to give a different answer a year ago as opposed to in a few months' time. Because I can only assume that Monty's going to get some sort of new dad strength, a sort of emotional strength.
Maybe strength to stop and flip a bowl?
Maybe. I'm very, by a long shot, I'm the shortest one here. But I think there's a feral quality inside me that I think... yeah, I know. Bite your lip at me.
I think you all underestimate the strength of a good bony knuckle. Like I think you guys are generally just a bit more like well-rounded with your builds.
Do it.
I'm not gonna hit you. That's gonna hurt you.
Smack me.
No, because I don't know my own strength.
I think that I think the best way to diffuse any of these situations, as highlighted by Chase, is to act a bit turned on, and you're very likely to.
You know what's the funniest thing is that that's not what I was doing. I just happened to be biting my lip out of like ADHD fidgeting, and you took it as me being turned on.
That you're right. That would make me leave the fight, and therefore Chase would win by default. So yeah, it's over before it's begun. Really.
I don't think any of us like the idea of hurting any of the others.
No,
I don't.
Sincerely, I think if we were just talking like not kidding, I think I would be the least likely to win in that fight. I think both of you are stronger, probably throw a better punch than I can.
Probably stronger, yeah.
I don't know which one of us. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm sorry. I agree with that. I just don't know which one of us.
I know exactly who. And moving on, do you actually have a chair that the narrator sits in that's specifically the narration chair?
Yes.
Yeah.
We used to sincerely have a computer chair, but that computer chair was A, uncomfortable, and B, fell apart loud and kept knocking into the wall. So now it's just 3 identical chairs.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, we do have at least a narrator position.
Yes.
The way we have it set up is we're on 3 sides of a table with the monitor on the 4th side, and the narrator is always sat to the right of the monitor.
Yes.
I don't know why we do that. We don't really need to do that. I'm not really sure why we've ended up doing that, but it's just remained consistent.
I don't know. I think maybe it's putting you near the sound pads.
Wow. Wow.
I don't know. Maybe that was subconscious.
Next question. This is from Flat Pat. This is a question about a specific franchise. Do you guys have any plans to cover any of the Soulsborne games? I can only imagine the fun chaos of opening that can of worms. I know before the question is. Thanks for the question, Flat Pat. Moving on.
No, very quickly.
Yeah, the main issue with those is because so much of the lore comes from, item text and descriptions and stuff.
Story lore,
like,
is it?
Yeah, like it's not lore in the same way, and you get things like, fucking Vatividya spending 10 billion years to explain the lore of a single character.
That's exactly it. So whilst of course it would be wonderful and fun, and to be frank, I would
different kind of lore.
We're like story lore, and that's like world building.
We never will, so do not read into this. But out of all of them, I would love to do Bloodborne the most because that's the world I'm most invested and interested in. However, you're totally right. What that would boil down to is me going away and looking up, watching one of Vatividya's videos and typing down exactly what he's saying, and that's just ripping off Vatividya.
I totally understand the why you asked the question, because it is such a fascinating world and a fascinating events happen within it. I just think it's one of those ones that on paper you might look at it and it might sound fun about us talking about it, but I don't know if it suits us.
It also would be a more of a history lesson because it's not there's not character interactions where you get dialogue, and second to that is that it's that is quite literally a full-time job uncovering the lore of those games. That's why Vatividya's entire, as an example, or Smogtown, why these channels exist in the first place.
I think as much as I love it, if you want Soulsborne lore dump, go watch Vatividya.
For sure, yeah.
Another question from Infamous that I really like here. What is a game or game franchise you feel you could confidently do a lore dump on with zero preparation?
Ooh. I mean, my answer would be Alan Wake.
You've already done that.
I've already done it. So without the ones that we've covered already. God, I could do Resi. I could do Resi with zero preparation. I don't think it would be particularly good. What you'd get with zero preparation is exactly what our Resident Evil episode is. So yeah, but I could do it.
I mean, it would be Kingdom Hearts, but to the same thing, same like quality.
That's it.
Like you wouldn't get like dialogue. You wouldn't get important quotes. You'd get the bare bones and the like 9,000 foot structure.
What about you, Neil?
Oh boy, what's the game I've played most?
It's FIFA, isn't it? Or it's WWE.
Those aren't suitable to the format.
I'm not saying that there'd be for the show.
The story games I've played most. Fuck, I don't know. What could I do something on with no preparation? Maybe like a...
Neil, I don't even need to ask you, and I get lore dumped about wrestling. Maybe and I love it.
Skyrim, I could do a pretty,
Not a video game, but it's just you with WWE.
Oh, for sure. I do that all day, every day.
Just pull wrestlers out of a hat and you just go.
We've touched on this one before, but I like how it's framed. Favorite musicians and bands (brackets beside Muse), and either your favorite song for them, or maybe a song you'd recommend to a newbie (brackets besides Clubfoot), which is a Kasabian song.
That's who asked that? That's a great.
Oh yeah, thank you. That's from Minato Dono.
Thanks, Minato. Great.
Favorite musicians or bands? We've covered. I'll go different from who we answered for favorite albums, and I'll say if you want a real taste, if you're not from the Central Belt in Scotland, if you really would want a real taste of the atmosphere, I think for me, Frightened Rabbit's second album, which is called The Midnight Organ Fight, which is a kind of indie 2008-9.
Yes.
Absolutely relentlessly honest heartbreak album. It's unbelievable.
Chase might be doing what I'm doing right now, is checking your Spotify. Yeah, because I think you're much more in tune with music as a whole, Neil. Whereas like I just listen to the stuff I like. So I like the band Lawrence and their album Family Business. It's a brother sister duo, really really good. I really like Arctic Monkeys. I'm really enjoying Sabrina Carpenter right now. Although look at me, I'm a basic bitch, aren't I?
Chapel, you got a little Chapel on there?
No.
Okay.
She's fine. I think we both just listen to
She's
musicals,
what?
No. I mean, to go off my album one, All Time Low has probably been my favorite band since I was about 10 years old. For ages and ages and ages. The specific song there, probably For Baltimore or Oh Calamity, off of, what was my favorite album. I really like Crown the Empire. Johnny Ringo is a really good song in there, as is Initiation, something like that. Pierce the Veil, King for a Day. In terms of some more recent stuff, Fizz, Close One by Fizz is a favorite right now. I'm seeing Good Kid this week. Mimi's Delivery Service by Good Kid, fucking so good.
The Cat Empire, obviously, which is a band that I did not know, but then my wife
Really
dragged me to them as like, no one's going with me to this. And I went, sure, I'll go see your band.
Really
what is this?
fun.
I just fell in love. You'll know them because their song Thunder Rumbles is the trailer song from our 2024 video.
To watch that video, it
remember
makes
when
a
you-
lot of promises. We wrote a lot of checks we didn't manage to cash.
Do you remember when you let me come with you and Nubis to see Ninja Sex Party?
Yeah,
Good times.
Love Ninja Sex
You,
Party
you,
as
me,
well.
and Nubis at Ninja Sex Party.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on. Chase, this is a question from Terra13.
What's up?
What characters from either Kingdom Hearts or Yakuza series closely match or resemble the three of y'all in terms of personality or whatever?
Oh, damn. That's a good question.
A tough one, I know, but yeah, feel free to pitch in as well, Monty.
No idea. Chase is Majima.
A little bit.
Weirdly, I think Roxas actually fits my personality a decent bit.
Yeah.
At least my off-camera personality.
You're so sweet.
Yeah.
When I'm not,
Sweetheart.
when I'm not stupid high energy.
Sweet and everyone's fave, yeah.
As for you two, I don't know. Maybe Kuze for both of you.
What are you talking about? That's a compliment.
It's a very cozy response there, Monty.
Stick me in the sewer with my motorbike.
I could definitely see Neil as like an Akiyama type. You've not met that character, so you don't know who that is.
Right, great.
Axel from Kingdom Hearts.
That's not who it is.
No, that's my answer.
Oh, that's your answer. And
Oh no, what am I talking about? Fucking
for
Donald
you,
Duck.
for you,
Short and powerful.
for you, Sid
Oh,
Sid.
from Kingdom Hearts.
from Kingdom Hearts, also from Final Fantasy.
Oh, can I be Final Fantasy 16 Sid, the cool Sid?
No, absolutely not. You are Final Fantasy. What is that?
the
Final
best
Fantasy
voice.
8. What is that? Final Fantasy 8 Sid that's in Kingdom Hearts?
Can it only be Final
That's the
Fantasy
one.
7 Sid? Where he's on his little plane.
No, Final Fantasy 8 Sid.
Next question.
Next question. Next.
Thank you.
For the question. The next question is from Andrea Cressy. Question for the Q&A. Is there a limit of games in a series or not? For example, Final Fantasy has 16. So that's a pertinent question, seeing as we are maybe a third of the way through the Yakuza main.
There should be a limit.
So, the realistic, yes and no, there should be, but I will blatantly say, me and Monty have discussed doing all of the Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
Specifically, we've discussed this in two separate sections, wherein Monty really wants to do the 7 remakes and all of the accompanying,
Yes.
and I really want to do the originals, which would include original 7, but also
And I'm just
both of
here.
those are psychotic tasks to assign to ourselves. So I
disagree.
don't know. I could see. I think with Final Fantasy, I think
Crisis Core is like 5 hours long. Advent Children's just a 9-minute
I think with you doing all the Final Fantasy 7s together, it would make sense. With me, I might grab a few of my favorite Final Fantasies and do like individual ones. But I don't know if I would go like
I think
I don't know if I would do like a 1 to 16 dump.
no, for
know, I think I would
sure,
do,
for
like-
sure.
I would do 3, 7, 8, 9, 14, 16.
14 in itself is a task.
14
Where
in
do you
itself
end
is
that?
a series.
Yeah, that's a series
14
in
is
itself.
like at least a 3-video
And
series.
so is 7. So we could talk. I'll happily talk about this. I think it's an interesting pitch. So Final Fantasy 7 is one that we would like to do. We're not going to say it's going to happen next year, but it's something we'd like to do. And yeah, as Chase said, because Neil has played the original years ago, or you haven't?
really?
I can't remember. Have you ever played Final Fantasy 7?
I think I've played 7.
I think you have. I mean, really,
Cloud, innit?
it's Cloud. Yeah. Everybody knows like the big beats
Yeah.
of that game. So what could make that quite fun is because you haven't played the remakes,
No.
or the spin-offs, or watched the Advent Children movie. So the way we could do it is if Chase covers Final Fantasy VII OG in Chase's style, and then I step in to do the remake, which means that then even when those games are covering the same beats, you're getting a different spin on it.
Let us
You
know, folks. Let us know if you think
Yeah.
that sounds
Yeah, let's know
interesting.
if that sounds interesting.
If you
I
really
like
want
how
to
it's
put,
been
if you want to
from
put
a-
Neil through something twice, if you really want to do that to me, let us know.
I like how we spin that completely into a Final Fantasy question.
Yeah. But also, it's in a way where, because I mean, as you'll have be able to tell by Neil's response, Neil definitely doesn't know what's coming in that franchise. So
I will also say, that at least from my side, from Yakuza, after Yakuza, I'm probably stepping back from long-ass series for a while.
Yeah.
I know that the next 2 I have are like 2-game series.
Yeah. Nice.
Kind of things. They're shorter ones.
it's just not fair on you. Like,
No. That we tried to warn them. They wanted this.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I did want, like, this and Kingdom Hearts are the 2 that I'm like, I want to bring this to you guys.
Yeah.
So I was like,
And to be fair, I maybe we've not said it in as many words. I am so excited to come in for these recordings at the moment. I'm loving doing Yakuza.
Yakuza 3 especially has got me like well on board.
somebody made a comment at one point that I like felt the need to respond to, where they're like, "Oh, it feel really bad because you can tell how excited Chase is to share his favorite thing, and they just get a deflated reaction." I'm like, to be fair to them, I don't think they understand the consequence of how I locked them in a room for like 13 straight hours, give them like 2 smoke breaks, and that's it. Like, by the time we get to the end of these, any deflated reactions are purely the consequence of the fact that we've been in this stuffy ass little office all fucking day.
Yes, that's right. Thanks. Criticize my home. There's a good example for that. Sorry, Neil. I know you want to get to the next question. Just last thing on this is a great example of that is Gondawara's Baby Kink Fest, which is like you listen to that back and a little bit of it was like, oh, what a flat response, and it's not a flat response. It's what do you want us to say to this? There is nothing to say to this and going, oh God, and then can we just move on?
Yeah.
Like,
And,
what
you
do you
know-
want? Not everything will turn into a bit.
No.
You know.
Gondawara shall return.
I have felt that when we're doing these that they're a very reactive kind of response-filled episodes personally. But next question, again from Minato. This one's mainly for Neil, but I'd be interested to hear the other two want to pitch in. Favorite wrestler or wrestling match? I know Monty's answer for favorite wrestler.
What's my answer?
It's Gold.
It is Gold Dust. I
It's
think Gold Dust
Dustin-
outfit is really cool.
Dustin Rhodes, Dustin Reynolds, Gold Dust.
I dressed up as Gold Dust for a WrestleMania for the Daniel Bryan one.
WrestleMania 30, yeah. And funny you mention old Bryan Danielson. He's probably up there for favorite wrestler. I struggle to pick one. There would be your Eddie Guerrero. There would be there would be Kenny Omega. There would be a Tetsuya Naito. There would be those are sort of samples of the styles I like.
So if you want lore dumps on any of them, let us know.
Wrestling match. I like trilogies, or I like again recent years. Obviously, Okada Omega. Recently, Hangman and Swerve has been stellar. Swerve is maybe my favorite person going at the moment. Chase, any favorite?
I think my obvious answer would have to be Dragon Mask.
Dragon Mask.
Dragon Mask, great. Ricky Mask, also pretty good. Tai Chi Mask, great one.
None of them won their debut match. It was
They didn't. It was the accountant who won his debut.
Air of mystery around those characters.
In a more realistic, I like a good hometown boy like KJ Mack.
yes. Yeah, friend of the pod.
Friend of the podcast, KJ Mack.
Shout out KG Mac.
I hope you're listening to this.
Yes.
Come back to us. We miss you.
We miss you. The last little set of questions are from X. I'm going to throw this one first to Chase. This is from Cosmic Glow. Which of the Arkham villains do you identify closest with? Love this show.
The Rizzler.
Correct. No further
No
context
further
needed.
comment,
Monty. The Riddler.
Or what is he called in the game where he's not called the Riddler?
Edward Nigma.
No, the one where we kept like the whole game. It's like that's not the Riddler.
It's the Tumblr guy. What's his name?
What the fuck do we call him?
Anyway,
I forget. The Rizzler.
my answer is which character is so dumb with everyone's shit? It's probably him.
Batman. You're describing.
I am Batman. Yeah, that's what I am. Yeah. I'm Penguin. Penguin's done with everyone's shit.
Yeah.
I'm Penguin.
Go shove a differently colored glass bottle in your eye. Replace it for the aesthetic.
I'll say Clayface. You know, I like to
Oh, you like Clayface.
I like Clayface. I like to give a good
You
performance.
say that you are anime Clayface.
Um,
Suave boy he
I've
is.
not seen the anime.
I'll show you things later.
Show me clips.
I'll show you more clips later. It's great.
We're just going to move on. I'm going to... Chase kind of answered this question already. I'm going to pitch it to you in a slightly different way. This is from Gunksicles on X. Monty, what process do you use when script writing? Summarize briefly.
Okay, I sit down and I open up a Word doc on my screen. On the other half of the screen, I put up a YouTube playthrough / cutscene compilation, and I will always play a game that I've covered at least once. And then to actually take the notes, just boof. On the right-hand side, cutscene, left-hand side, Word doc, type. And then when I come up for a bit where I'm like, a slide would be good here, I just put a little number like 2, 3, 4, whatever. And then afterwards I go back to it, edit the script while I'm putting the slides into a PowerPoint. And I screenshot the cutscene compilation as well for the PowerPoint. But I think we all do that, generally. Yeah. That's how I do it.
Similar.
I love my girlfriend saw that one and she answered it for me saying, "You lock yourself in a room. I don't see you for 2 weeks." In the case of Yakuza specifically, I put her on the couch and I gave her Astrobot and I said, "Entertain yourself. I'll be in the office if you need me."
Love you. I am present here.
love you. Sorry that I can't hang out. Bye.
Two important questions for Neil from System Meltdown. How do you think Arne Slot is doing so far, and how much do you miss Jurgen Klopp? I mean, listen, it was like a surrogate father leaving. I'd never in my relatively short life experienced, well, not that short, I'm sort of a third to a half way done, right?
What, with your life?
Yeah, I mean, statistically.
Hopefully a bit more than a third.
The day of recording, we have just beaten Bournemouth 3-0. 2 by Diaz. I've not watched the highlights yet because we've been recording all day. I like this Slot team. I like the players that he's.
This is why we got Cult of Neil t-shirts.
I like that. I like that Gravenberg really seems to be suiting this number 6 role a lot more. And I think, like Klopp said when he left, you just got to. It's not about what they think about you when you arrive. It's what they think when you leave. And we gave Klopp the time, and look at what he did. Let's give Slot the time, but he's off to a fantastic start. Will there be, this is from Kerdog, Kerdog0144, will there be a lower dump for the God of War series? You guys have done both Metal Gear and Kingdom Hearts, which are 2 of my 3 favourite games. I would love to have all 3 series to listen to over and over on repeat. Maybe.
We have chatted it.
It's on the spreadsheet. It is sincerely on the spreadsheet. Yeah. Be a lot of fun to do.
Whether or not we would do, do we do all of them? Do we do the new ones? I think we'd do all of them, wouldn't we?
Oh, the real fun, I think, comes from those old ones first, yeah.
We would love to be able to do that for you. Next one. This is our second to last episode question. No episode, that would be a fucking hell of a drop. This is from Guardian Man T. Hear me out. For April 1st, a legit FNAF episode. We knew that question was coming. They follow up with a real question. What kind of continuation of a series are you most excited about? So a series not just for lore dumping.
Silksong.
This to mean Silksong.
It's Silksong.
Yeah.
Although also Pirate Yakuza is looking pretty good.
When we record this, there's been no updates on Silksong since the trailer, like a year ago? The last.
Oh god, I think it's been like 2.5 years.
My running theory is still that Silksong will just shadow drop next year. It will just appear.
Oh no, my running theory is that at this point, it's been so quiet that I think it is being held back by Nintendo to be a Switch 2 launch title.
That's a really good theory.
I think it's going to be a Switch 2 launch title because it already has its rating, which means it is basically done. People have played this game. they're holding it back for a reason. I think it's going to be a Switch 2 launch title.
And have you got any others, Monty? Any other continuations of a series you're holding out for?
I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts 4 just because I'm excited to get back in the room and talk Kingdom Hearts again. Obviously, just Control 2. Duh. At this point, we don't have Lake House DLC for Alan Wake 2 out yet. I'm excited for that. That'll be out by the time this episode goes live, so hopefully it's good. More Spidey is lovely.
I'm looking forward to the Witcher 4.
Oh yeah, the Siri Witcher. Yeah.
Well, we don't know, do we? We know it's not Geralt. I think
Yeah.
that's all we know. Not as the protagonist. Yeah.
I feel like unless they do a significant time jump, it's probably Siri, though. But given that we know that Geralt is in it,
Yeah.
it's probably a Siri game.
For the heavily rumored Spyro 4 that Toys for Bob is apparently working on. They uploaded on their website a picture of a purple gem with a question mark over it. Spyro 4,
You
maybe?
poor bugger.
Proper
You've been
Spyro
waiting for that for decades.
Next gen Spyro, baby, it's here.
And the last question I wanted to ask was from X again. This is from Nerdy Mariner. What are some of your favourite moments in gaming that stuck with you? Not necessarily from games you covered for the pod, but in general.
Special gaming moments.
Yeah.
Bioshock 1's twist is an all-timer. The entire experience of Hollow Knight, but probably specifically the Path of Pain in Hollow Knight, just because we've been talking about it, it's front of mind. Just beating the Path of Pain in Hollow Knight was like a real moment.
I've got one that involves you, and we may have told this story before, but when The Last of Us came out on the PS3, and we sat and we played through it together, sort of passing the controller, and sat on the sofa for a couple of days and played through it. And we were both working together in a restaurant at the time, and we got to the university, and we'd just been through all the shit that the characters go through. And when they see the giraffes at the window, and we just sort of put the controller down and just sat in this moment with these characters, and it was a really beautiful experience. It was a cinematic.
Playing all of Resident Evil 6 with you.
Oh, that was great!
That is
What
an
a
absolute
dumb game! I love
highlight.
that. Yeah.
What a great experience. What about you, Chase?
It was coming over to your house as you finished Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's fair.
I sat with you during the Xehanort fight, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Another one, because I played it with my sister, is only Gears fans will know. Another series I would like to do one day. Gears of War 3, a particular character's death. If you know, you know. I experienced that with my sister. She burst into tears when that character died, which is a weird experience for me because she's not a big gamer, but yeah, really good. Yeah. Oh, and just the entirety of Silent Hill 2. Just the first time playing that game is special. God, so many great gaming moments.
Ending of Yakuza 6. The end of Yakuza 6.
I don't know.
Also the end of Yakuza Gaiden. Yeah, both of those really good. Also the end of Yakuza 8.
Fighting the boss.
Lots of ends of Yakuzas.
Definitely fighting the boss in Metal Gear Solid 3. That was a stellar moment.
Yeah, that was another one we played through together when the remasters came out in the PS3 era. That was good fun. I want to thank you both for joining us to answer some questions.
This was
and
fun. I enjoyed this.
I want to thank all of the wonderful people that have sent in questions across our platforms.
Hope you learned a thing.
Yeah.
Did you learn it?
Hope he didn't unsubscribe.
No.
Oh, that's what these people are like?
Oh no, they found out what we're like, and now they don't want to hear us. But yeah, thank you. We hope you're having a wonderful time whenever you're listening to this. We hope you're healthy. We hope you're happy, and we look forward to bringing you many, many more hours of Lore Dump.
Happy New Year in 2025.
Happy New Year.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.